Good morning and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. The session will run over the next 90 minutes, including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. I would now like to welcome Swamy, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swamy to begin the session. Over to you, Swamy.
Hey guys, thanks so much. Good morning. Thanks for joining this morning. Let me share my screen and we can get going. As I just already posted this previous 12 sessions video in the chat, please go and watch the previous 12 session. Okay. And this is the 13th session. Let's see what we are going to do today. So we are going to discuss about Azure Container Registry, and we are also going to discuss about the Azure Container Instance. Okay, so I just want to check that web apps, ACI, and Kubernetes. First thing is we need to understand this difference first. Okay, when you come here, this is a Microsoft documentation. Let's go ahead and see that documentation. Oh, sorry, I just pressed something else. First, let's look into this documentation. So there is a variety of options, a lot of options when we compare apps. Okay, so we have app service, we have Azure Container Instance, we have Kubernetes, we have Azure Functions, we have Spring Cloud. At least I'm aware of these things. I never worked on this, but if you see, they have given a lot of options for us to go ahead and choose wisely. Okay, when we have the container options. So Azure Container Apps, this is something which is pretty new. It has come up very fresh from the kitchen, Azure's kitchen. So this is one thing which we can try. And there are good samples in Azure documentation where we can go ahead and try this. I tried one of the sample myself. I liked it very much. That was this one, container apps.net event hub. You can directly go to this repository, which I tried it. I mean, this is my repository, but uh, the one which is really there, that is from the other repository. This is in the GitHub repositories. Okay, that's a very good sample. I really liked it. You guys can try that. And another one is app service. We have seen quite a few things, and I think in the next episode, I would like to show a few other things. What is that is we can create containers using using app service also. So I just would like to show a real quick thing on how does that look. We can. This is the one for the container instance, but whatever I want to show is on this one. Yeah, this one. So if you see this image, so it is a app service. It is a app service, and inside the app service also, it supports Docker Compose. That means we can have multi containers within the multi containers within this app service also. That is also possible. So we can use this one. Okay, that we will. I would like to show that in the next session when we are doing it. But today we'll stick to Azure Container Instance. Another one is Kubernetes. And Azure Function, as we know that it is scalable based on the number of events. If it is a consumption plan, If it is something like an app service plan or dedicated plan, then we need to ensure that we are scaling up dynamically. But if it is consumption plan, uh, Azure will take care of expanding and contracting the number of instances. So when can we use this Azure container instance? That's one point. And container instance means we need to have an image. So before that, we need to come and learn about the container registry. Suppose let's take 2 minutes time before we jump into Azure container instance. Let me log into this. This my Docker hub account. So this Docker hub.docker.com is one of the registries from which we can have this uh, all these images we can store it. It's like a repository, like how we have this source code repository. Similar to that, we can store all the Docker images. Okay, so all my coding will be here. I did not get proper time to update this documentation, but definitely I will be doing it by this weekend. I'm really sorry for that. I'm running a little late on that, but I already captured the images, whatever is needed, and some of the things, other things I'm will be capturing it. Like I will give you step by step instructions how to execute, how to rerun this. I'll give you a complete demo script as I do it for my rest of the events, but this time I was lazy. So please keep this handy. It will be under this speaker series 2021. I'll just put it here so that you guys can anytime you guys get few free cycles, go grab this and try this. Okay, that is done. Now let me come back to this one. So similarly, we have that lot of Docker images. So this is we can have the private as well as the public registries also. First, we will see that how quickly we will be able to use it a Docker image. So let me come here. I'm just going and creating an container instance. I can come and search container instances from here. Okay. Or else if I'm not comfortable, or if I want to search, I can come on containers. You can see this. There are tons and tons and options in containers also. I can select a container instance. And after selecting this uh, container instance. So this is the good naming conventions. So they give you how you can have the prefix. These are the two documents I strongly suggest to refer always, because see this, they give you how to name your resources and what should be the suffix for that. So I'll give these two URLs also. Keep this handy. So I always use this as a Bible when I'm doing it, because everyone in the team, if we use the same naming convention, it will be pretty easy for rest of the team to understand what does that mean. If they even if they are not on the portal but still seeing the name, they will understand that okay, CI is container instance. Okay, container instance bookstore dev. Okay, that's the one I'm taking. We'll come and we'll do every bit and piece. Even if time is not enough, I will take it in the next session. But let's uh, learn things to the core. Okay, I will go to other container other registries, because it's not in the quick start. In the quick start registry, what it will happen is you will have few things, only few things, like one is ACI Azure Container Instance Hello World, and Nginx and Windows Server Core. These are the images which we have. If you have any Azure Container registries, we can go and get it from there. But it is from my Docker Hub registry. So how do I know that what is the name? I can come into this one and go grab this name till here. Okay, so I can put it as a public. I want to grab the latest one and Linux, and we can come and change the sizes, like how much GB you want. It's allowed is 16 GB max, and number of CPU cores is this one. If you need any GPU type, you can select those one. Okay, let's stick to this game plan, like whatever is needed is minimum. And DNS, we can call it as container instance bookstore. Oh, it's not container instance, it's Docker. I'm sorry. Okay, this container instance, I'm sorry. This is a container instance. Okay, that's the DNS uh, with which we can do. And you can enable the port. We'll stick to the 80. And if you have any environment variables, we can go ahead with the environment variables. Suppose anything which you are comfortable others seeing it, you can keep it as this one. So I am okay. So that's fine. Okay, not a not a secret. So something which is secret, you can write it as I am not okay. Okay, whatever I put it, others can't see. So these are the environment variables with which we can inject the connection string or something. So if you see in my previous demo, whatever I was showing in this, let's go back to this one. So if you slowly come here, you can see that. So here, I don't want others to see my connection string. So what did I mark? I mark it as a secure string. Secure string means technically I'm giving the connection string. Whatever you guys have seen here, see these connection strings here. Some app settings or secrets.json, whatever we have it in app settings or secrets.json, how do we inject when we are creating the container instance? We can do it. I mean, we are doing it manually, but we'll do it through command line. First, I want to set some context. How do we create it? Then we will go ahead and work with the commands. So we will first understand the internals, and then we will go and work. Okay, let's spend some more time. So so it's deploying. While it is deploying, let it deploy. In the meanwhile, let me come back to my virtual machine. Let me create a new project. Okay, that project I would like to copy here. That I'll create it here. Just let's create a .NET 6 Razor Pages project. I want to create what is this? Okay, let's use this one, the cross-platform Razor Pages application. So let me go here and we'll call it as sorry. New project. Let's use the Razor Page one. The cross-platform here. And let's go and we call it as the new bookstore. That's the name. And I want to put this inside the source folder here. and click on next. And we'll enable Docker. As of now, let's leave it so that we'll understand the internals, what is happening, where it is happening. First, let's understand the fundamentals, then we can go ahead and use through the command lines. So let me quickly come back here. I'm switching between both the container instance and container registry. We'll come and we'll go through that documentation also in a minute. So let's come back and see this container instance. And please refer this documentation before choosing it. The container instance is something if you want to quickly check something, whether it is working or not, it is for that we can use this container instance. We can have multi-containers also, but it supports 2 containers. We'll see that in 30 minutes from now, but let's focus the first 40 minutes on our fundamentals. Then we can execute these commands. Those are pretty easy commands. So we'll come back and see this. Here it shows that this is running. You can come and see. It clearly shows all the things which is there. So it is executing properly and it is listening on port 80. So we can do multiple things. I can come to this. Right now we are using Docker containers. We are not using Azure Container Registry. The image is from Docker container. We'll go back and use that container registry in a minute. But before that, let's go and see this. So this is the bookstore application, which I just created, a simple Hello World bookstore application. So we can use the public IP or we can use the container FQDN or the DNS label. So either way we can use this. Okay, I can come to home and I can click on books. It is an in-memory. It's an in-memory database. Okay, so I mean it's still uh, under process. It's not yet done, but I'm working on something of this kind. So now we understood this basics. How can we do this? Okay, so now we know that how quickly we will be able to get this one. Okay, that's point one. And point two is we have very less uh, facilities, but what we can do is we can if you are a bash guy, we can get into this bash terminal and we can see this how the container is composed or what it is made up of. Like if I do a host name, I do a host name, it shows this is a sandbox, this is a box, and root. We are having full permission. I do ls, so that shows all the DLLs. It is coming in here in this application. So let me clear that, and I do cd dot dot, and I do ls. So it shows that app bin root etc etc, and I do cd dot dot. Now I'm here. Okay. Now if I do cd app and if I do DAR, so it is showing all the libraries which are there. I mean, as part of our publish package, as part of our publish, when we publish, these all the binaries which will be pushed to this repository. Now I can see that I have the app settings JSON. So I can do a real cat app settings dot JSON. So that shows the parameters. So that also shows that whatever is inside, we can see that. If I would have added something, even those things will be coming in. So at least we have this much facilities where we can get into this and check that, because this is the power, and we should ensure that there is a responsibility when we have power. So we don't want to do anything which will damage this one. And it is, as you have seen, that we have some flexibility where we can go and change the size of this container. What is the number of cores we need it, and what is the memory? We saw that it is 1 to 16 and 1 to 4 cores. And if it needs a GPU, we can see that. If something goes wrong, it will be shown here as part of the logs. And these are the events. It shows that container started and here the state is running state. And another thing is we can get into that what is the image it is pulling and all those things. And if I come to this properties, we will see that here it shows this properties and the resource ID. All these things are being shown here. This is the port which is opening and this is the DNS name. That's good. So now what we will do is I already created one empty Azure container instance. There's nothing in here. We can come in and check into this repositories. So there's nothing in here in this repositories. So first what we will do is, I mean, we didn't even discuss what Azure Container Registry is, what uh, the Azure Container Instance or Azure Container Registry. My way of discussing is first let's do some hands-on and then we'll come back and fill up the theory. That will be easy. So at least we'll see something we are able to do. And we'll fill up what and why. So now let's quickly come back here, the new bookstore. Let's execute this one because we have limited time. I will not beautify this. I have other projects which I can show, but I want to show everything from scratch. So we'll see that. That's a new bookstore. There's nothing in here. Okay. And to showcase this one, I will go here and let's take the same, whatever the connection string which I was taking. Let's take the same and we'll add it here. Okay. So we have this MongoDB settings, collection name, and these things are there. So let's come back real quick to the index page. Okay. So okay. Now, how do you create this? You have created a new property. Now you need to inject in this construction injection. Visual Studio has given a nice tool. Delete the existing container, existing constructor, Alt and Enter, and generate constructor, and then add null checks. This is much beautiful than the existing code. See that? So all we need to know is how to use this, uh, how to use this one. Okay. So what we can do is here in this, we have the index model is coming. Okay. So if I take something public, um, just for this sample, I'm doing it. Please don't use it. Okay, that connection string, what we will do is we'll get it from underscore configuration. And inside this, let's come back to that app settings. Let's use this MongoDB settings, colon. I mean, if the time doesn't permit for us to see everything, we'll come back and revisit, but I want we to learn the things in a better manner. Okay, so let's take time, no hurry. I'm ready to what is the property name I've taken? Connection string. So that's in the model. Model connection string. Okay, let's quickly see this because I want to show the environment variables when we are creating the Azure container instance. How can we inject this? Okay, this one. Now our experiment is good. Okay, so we need to learn all the fundamentals because doing a hello world is okay, but what if you are going to do a production? Because minimum you will read this data from somewhere, isn't it? So how can you protect yourself? So let's assume we have taken this app settings. We are reading the connection string. I don't want anyone to see, but as of now, we are putting it in this plain connection string. So that's the step one of our journey. Step two is what? How can we push this to a container registry? All I can do is connection string. Nowadays, the tools are pretty powerful. We will learn the commands also, but I would like to show you that. So you can do a container registry. So double click this. Inside this container registry, see the name is little confusing, but don't worry about this. Docker container registry. Publish your application to any supported container registry that works with Docker images. Now let's come back and we can uh, fill the theoretical part. Okay, first I want to do the uh, hands-on part. So just get into that. He's telling that not only Docker, any registry which supports Docker format, right? So that is Azure Container Registry is what I'm choosing. And you can have the Docker Hub that is public, or you can have your other Docker container registry. You can have your on-premise registries also. So that's the subscription. This is the one I already have uh, 001 where we saw that there are no registries here. Images, I'm sorry. There's no images are there. So what I'm doing is I'm saying finish and I am pushing this. Why? Again. We have Docker. Okay. So before pushing that, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. Right mouse click and click on add. It should have a Docker file. So click on this Docker support. Okay. Or if you want the Docker Compose, you can click on the container orchestration. It will ask whether you want to do it with the service fabric or with the Docker Compose. We don't want the Docker Compose because right now we are playing with a single container. So let's use the Docker support. The moment you click on the Docker support, it asks whether you want Linux or Windows. I want Linux. So we'll keep it here. So what is happening is technically, so it is telling that base. So it's taking this ASP.NET and this is the base where it we can check this the image size of these things. It is serious. The moment we select right mouse click and add Docker, so it is bringing in those latest images. If at all something is missing, it will go and bring that one. So all we can do is we can come back over here and get into this one and check for Microsoft images. So see this, these are the some of the images which it is getting. One is what? .NET. Okay, let me check for .NET. So these are the images it should be. So see this one, you will see the size. So one thing where we need SDK will be little bit thicker than the runtime. So the runtime is will little bit lesser in size. The SDK it has got tools. It will be little thicker. So this is the base image on which this Docker file is there, and the working directory is app. Now you should be able to recognize we had the same, we went into the app folder. Do you remember that? We went into the app folder and we saw that. So it is creating an app there. and then we are exposing port 80 and 443. And then what this is, this step, this particular step is known as base. And then the other step it starts, it is being called as build. So what it is doing is it's saying that, okay, currently my working directory is called source, and copy this project, the CS project which you're seeing here, copy this project from this into the new bookstore, right? And then run the .NET Restore on this CS project, which is the bookstore. And then copy all these things from current working directory to the source. And then working directory source this folder. And then do a .NET build. And it is asking to publish app and build. Okay, those artifacts is being published here. And then from build. So this step, from this step, it's a multi-step Docker container. From this step, okay, create a publish as publish and run the .NET publish on the same project and then publish it to app publish. And then from base, that means he's using this image which is lesser in size. Okay, from base, from this step, make a final. Okay, different layers will be there. We'll see that how it is happening. And in the working directory is this one. That means I'm coming back to app. And what we are saying that copy from publish. So that means in this folder, whatever is there in app publish dot, that means everything will be copied inside this app folder. And then we are saying that .NET run. Okay, these are the steps which are happening in this. So let's see how these things will get published. First thing, I say that publish, and I'll create a new publish to a folder just for us to understand how the things are getting published. Okay, I just click on this and click on finish. So what it does is, let's come back to this. It starts the building and it is executing this one, and let's wait until it publishes. So it is publishing to that source, the new bookstore, the new bookstore. Okay, so we can, that's the target location. Just click on that target location. You can see that. So it has created the dub root, and also all these things have got published here. Okay, it published the app settings and app settings JSON and other things. It published it. We can come and see that those values are here. Okay, so everything it gets published. Now this is the thing which goes into the app folder. How do we know that these are the binaries which are going to the app folder? That's a good question. So what we do is, here there are profiles, publish run profiles. So how do you know that how many run profiles are there? If you go to that properties under the launch settings, you can see that the bookstore is Kestrel, one is IIS Express, and one is using the Docker. So how many ways you can execute? You can execute using IIS Express. The moment you click on that, you will see a small icon here on the system tray that shows that this is executing using the IIS Express. So we are digging deep into that internals, guys. If the time doesn't permit, we will come back to the next event and we will learn. But I want you guys to learn the depth of whatever the deep dive we are doing. Okay. The second mode is we can execute it using the Kestrel. How do you know that that's a Kestrel? The IIS Express icon doesn't appear, but a console will appear. That shows that we are executing through the Kestrel. There you go. This is the guy. That means now second mode of execution is Kestrel. And the third mode of execution is Docker. Now you execute on Docker. Now please focus on this here. Um, so it builds and then it executes in the Docker. Let's wait for that. This guy will give us the control. There are multiple ways to dig deeper. See this, it is executing Docker execute interactive bin sh, and then it is killing, and then skipping the analyzer. You can execute build because looks like the build is already there. The image is already there, so it's not doing anything on that one. We can come and check the images. The new bookstore. The image already exists. and its size is 2803. Okay. Now, now that is executing. We can probe this in multiple ways. I'll show you a couple of ways which I know. Others you can experiment in more. So I can come in here. That's the new bookstore. I can click on this where it takes me to the logs. You can see the same logs in Visual Studio also. If I come to the logs, you see the same set of logs what you're seeing there here in this Docker for desktop. I can do an inspect. It shows whatever the mounts happened and everything it shows there, what ports it is enabling. The same thing you can do it through the Visual Studio 2022. You can come to this ports and you can have these environments over here. Okay, you can have through environments and you can check everything, do a deep dive. You do, it shows that what is the source it is bounding. See this, it is bounding. Yeah, which one I'm executing? Uh, oh shit, I'm sorry, apologies, my mistake. I selected the wrong one. See that if you get into that app, you'll see the same set of binaries uh, what you have seen there. Okay, right now it is running through the application, but if not, the binaries, the compiled binaries will go there. And here are the volumes. Okay, so the entire source code is getting mapped to the destination folder. But in fact, when we build that image, it goes only the compiled binaries. And here is the one. So now where is that application? The application is getting executed. One more small tip. Okay, so now that when we are having this, if you want, we can inject it while we do this. So now that we understood how the things will get published, how it gets executed in the Docker container. Now we can come and publish it to our Azure container instance. So let's go to this publish and let me switch to Azure container instance and let's do a publish now. So what will happen is technically it has to build this, right? It has to build the Docker image and that Docker image has to be pushed to the Azure container instance. So previously I forgot to add the Docker support. I told I will add it, but I forgot to add that one. Now what we have to observe here is the steps which in which the Docker is getting, that image is getting created. Okay, that is very, very important step. We can now, let's say that. So you see build 2 of 7. So working directory source. You can see that all the steps which we discussed. So it is build from MCR. So you can correlate whatever the steps which is happening here. So step 3 of 7. So there are 7 steps in this. See this one. Step 1. You saw that. Okay. Where did we see that? Step 1 and this is step 5, this is step 6 and step 7 is run.net restore. And then what it is happening is it is publishing. See that? It is publishing. So inside the publish, the second step is copy from this folder. So all the steps you can see here and you can correlate. See this from the final step. Like if you see that step 1, 2, 3 like this, this is the final step. In that it did an working directory and this was 2 of 2. From this publish, copy all the artifacts which you have published here into the current folder. That means into the app folder. So you can come and you can read and understand this. Uh, come and read and understand this. Now, I will reduce this little bit. So we can go here. See that? Publish 1 of 1. Run.NET publish. run.NET publish. So -C to this folder, and then it published the artifacts to this publish folder. And then what it is doing, then it says that copy from publish this folder into dot. That means before that it would have selected the app as a app as a current folder. Okay. And then once that is published, exporting the image. Now this is pushing the image. There are multiple layers. So each and every layer is being pushed into the container registry. Now we can happily come to this and we can see the bookstore. The latest is here. Okay. Now this is the name. This is the name of the container registry. This is the name of the container image. If you want this to be accessed from somewhere. So let's go to, we don't disturb this. Let's keep it as it is. And let's come in here and get into this container instance. And we have this container, which is my previous bookstore, which is coming from Docker Hub. Okay. So now we'll create another container instance. Go to the containers, container instance. Now, once we understand the fundamentals, then we can go and execute easily. Store. I'm calling it as I want. Yes. Previously, we have selected other registry. This time we are selecting the container registry. So it has already located this. And here is the one where we would like to go and modify the connection string. So underscore underscore. And anywhere where we use colon, Linux, it doesn't recognize. So you need to use underscore underscore. This will use it like this. And this I call it as a secure. I'm calling it as v1 just to differentiate. I'll copy the same value. I'll put it here. Okay. We'll see that how the things will change. MongoDB ACI just to show the difference, right? So, right now come in here and create. Right. So that's right. Where we have this registry, we have this repository. This is one. And it's taking 10 seconds. Can get into this repository and see that. Okay. The bookstore. Let's get into that. And let's get into this Docker containers. Okay. So it shows something. We don't know what it shows until we execute it. Here it shows running. So until I see this, I don't say that it is running. See that? ACI. Now, if you come to this, see that? And the other one, which is using the local host from this project. If you go and see this was the thing. MongoDB settings, MongoDB localhost. The localhost one is not seen because we told it as a secure. And something which is not secure, we can put it like this. And another thing what we are learning here is whatever you have it as part of your app settings, you don't need to worry. If you're using Azure Container Instance, you can inject those things as part of the environment variables and mark it secure if you don't want those values to be exposed. So that way what will happen is it doesn't flash it on the screen. So you are safe. Okay. I don't know whether I will be successful in this or not, but I would like to take chances. Azure Container Instance. Here. Properties. That's an image. Environment. Let's take chance. Let's see this webhooks. What is this webhooks? So if at all some changes happen, someone pushed a new change, that change has to automatically reflect here. Okay, so let's try. I don't know whether I'll be successful or not, but there is no harm in trying. Okay, update new bookstore, East US, and what is this? Service UI to, there should be a webhook here. Let me look at this. It should give us the subscription ID, the webhook name. Just a moment. Container registries, and it doesn't show up here. 1 minute. Action is push. Scope. The service webhook. Can we give this? I think that should be a URL. There will be a URL for that. No, it's not this. Okay, let's see. Let's see that in app service. I think Azure Container Inst also will support, but I'll come back to that. But how to do this post notification? We'll see this here. We call it as app-new book store dev. And let's use it as this Docker container. East US. And let me copy this and create a plan of this. And I would like to change. I don't want the premium tier. I want the dev test. Basic free tier should be good enough for me. And I go to this Docker. That's a single container. Image source is Azure Container Registry. And that's the registry. And this is the name, latest. And monitoring, I don't want any monitoring. And now I'll do a review and create. We can write those tasks, but through webhooks, it already has a webhook. And if we give that service to this guy, so anytime we push a new changes to the registry, Azure Container Registry, this will go and update the web application. Let's see that in action. So let me create a duplicate of this. Let me come back to, because I could not find that in this one here. Somewhere it should give me a URL for that. Maybe I'm not able to locate it properly. I looked at it, but I know how to do with the web apps. We'll see that in a moment. Here it doesn't give. Maybe we have to do it with the container tasks. There are something known as tasks here. I'll look at that. Um, okay, what is this? This is a container registry. Okay, could be through this, but specifically they have given this webhooks means there should be a way. We'll look into that. Okay, the deployment is done. So let's quickly come back over here and let's go and check this guy and let it give us the chance. What we can do is in the meanwhile, we can come to this deployment center. Once we come to the deployment center, you can see it is a single container. It is giving you through admin credentials. It is giving you all these options. And also it is giving you the webhook URL. This is what I was talking about. I could not see there. We will come back to this. We'll do that. Okay, first we will execute this. And after that, once you go to that logs, this logs will clearly tell that how this guy is pulling that images and what is he doing. Everything it will mention step by step. Okay. So let's wait. I should show this logs. Maybe it's taking time. Let it take. Let's give this a shot. Let's come back here. Let's see that is it showing the same bookstore? Because this is a containers in app service. Because this is a first time hit. It is taking a little bit time. Let's see that. Okay, there you go. It has come. So you can see, you're seeing this one. Now I can come back to this. And this is a service. We switched it on. And then what we can do is we can come back to this webhooks, add a webhook, uh, deploy to web app container. Okay, East USS, the service URL is this. Okay, so we are saying push, status is on. We just created this. So technically what should happen is this, I did it in Docker Hub. So whenever I push my local source code to the Docker Hub image, that goes and updates the web application. So that is there. It is enabled. Okay. So we didn't push anything. Okay. This is okay. We enabled from there also. I'm sorry for that. We clicked continuous deployment enabled. We did it there. So that's the reason we are seeing the other entry. So what I'll do is I will delete this, whatever we created it from here. So right now, what is happening is we click on this. It is showing this image. That's cool. We are happy. So we'll come back to this one and I'll do a small, very small change. Let's come back to this index and text center, text primary. I just did a very small change. Did a text primary. That means the color, whatever it displays inside will be of blue color based on the bootstrap. Whatever is the primary color, it will take, it will change the color to that primary color. Let's see this, and then we can quickly execute the commands and will see what has been covered, what is pending, and that we can come back and do it in the next event when we are doing about the monitoring, which is little lighter than this. I think we can mix these two topics there. But I want us to learn. See that? That's the change. So which is not here. Okay. So this has been changed, the blue. So I close this. So again, you can see this. Go and publish. And I publish to this. So it's publishing it. So some of the layers which is already there, you can see that it's not taking that much time. So it will use the cached layer if at all the layer already exists. Okay, if the code has majorly changed, only those pieces it will recompile and creates a new layer. And I think it is pushing. See this? It says that layer already exists. Only one thin layer it pushed it. If you see that image, rest of the 6, it says that layer already exists. Only the first one it did it. So if we come back over here and see the repositories, at least we can track the logs. Don't worry if you are not seeing that live. If you come and see that, it's only the one tag. I think because we pushed it twice without changing the tag, that could be the problem. And let me come to this deployment center. And let's see that. Did it change something? See that? That means it did a continuous deployment. The moment you do the change, you update to the registry, all the apps which are using this image will get updated. So I could not find that. It's my mistake, but there is another way I think so. I will get that. I'll search if I'm able to hit it by next fortnight. It will be good. So this is two ways we can do. Either we can create the webhooks from here. We created it here, but the best way to create it is this one. Click on this continuous deployment and save that, and that notes how to publish it. That itself has come and created this entry. You can click on this. It gives this information, the resource group, and the timestamp, and it creates that. Okay, it is showing that what is the payload which is coming. Okay, what is the payload it is coming, and also it is giving us an opportunity to configure. So I think okay, the scope that was missing when we were creating. We didn't give the scope, that was missing, but apart from that we did things good there. Okay, so now we'll come to the theoretical part. So let's see that. Can we go fiddle with this? Let's take one more minute. What is this version? We can do it with, I'm sure, we can do it with the tasks to push it. Definitely there will be tasks. Uh, tasks, yep, this one should be there. Okay, manage steps for building testing. And yeah, time out. Update. Should be one out of this. I'll check that. Okay, should be definitely one out of this to update a registry or a webhook. Cool. Something definitely it should be there. So let's see that we stopped it. And now let's start it. Let's see, is it picking up the latest container or whatever the container we mentioned it. I think we mentioned it as latest there. It stopped. Yeah, we mentioned it as latest. Right now, the latest is the one with the blue color. So previously, this is black. The application web app container, app service container has changed to blue, but this was black. So what I did is I stopped it and I started. So technically, it should go and bring the latest one. So it sees that it is updated. Looks like it pulled it down. See that? Pulling the image successfully pulled, started the container. It is waiting to start. It has not yet started. Let's see that. See, got this and the pod. It's waiting. It's equivalent to pod. It's not exactly the pod of containers, guys. It's equivalent to pod. I don't know, maybe pod, but it's equivalent. Okay. It didn't. Okay. It didn't pull that. That's bad. Okay. That's latest. Let's go there. Copy this. Couldn't be any different. Oh, no. Oh, I was looking at a wrong. I stopped the wrong container. I'm sorry for that. I'm really sorry for that. I am really sorry. I should have stopped this guy. That's the latest. I should have stopped this guy. I stopped the wrong container, folks. I'm sorry. Because I stopped the wrong container and was trying to see the updated thing in that. That was my mistake. Let me start this. Because the names was same, I got little confused. Instead of stopping the new bookstore, I stopped that one. Now this bookstore has been stopped because we don't have the FQDN or the DNS name, which we didn't specify. So now it is waiting for this public IP address 84.82. So it has changed. That's one good news. And the other good news is let's go and see whether it is bringing in the container. Yeah, it says that it has brought the new container. Let's give this a shot. If it works well and good, if not, we'll jump. Uh, let's see. Let's give it a minute because it has to boot up. The properties is same. And logs, it says it is connected. It's not yet started. Sometimes that will do. Let me see. Because I didn't see this logs here. When did it start? Let's do a stop of this and start again. So I did a stop of this container. Let's stop and let's start this container. Okay. Maybe it was stopping when we started this, or else maybe this got corrupted. I don't know. Well, we'll see that. Just give it a minute, guys. I think it is. Let's see. Okay, it says that it started. Let's see whether the container logs. Yeah, now I see those logs. Okay, now I see those logs. There you go. Saw that? Now it pulled it. So I had to stop it. That doesn't make sense. I mean, something it has to be done from the Azure container instance, but at least whatever the mechanism I know through, there will be a webhook URL. That webhook URL, if we configure, it should do it. I think we can do that in another way. I'll get it how to do it by the next demo. Okay. So now we will discuss about the theory. So now that we did a lot of hands-on, okay, let's spend a couple of minutes here. Like we saw that this is something which is big, pretty fresh in kitchen, and it's coming out. That's to use, and it has got a lot of support. Enables you to build serverless microservice based containers. Okay. We'll do it in future. It is there. App service is the one which we did it now, and also app service with containers. That's also we did it. And this also we saw that Azure container instance. We saw that, and we saw a couple of flavors, including the properties. We didn't see the file mode, but at least we went to the environment variables, how to inject. Okay. So, and you know the Kubernetes, which is very powerful, which we will come back and learn. And we'll start from here now. So why it is? Okay. Okay. So now some of the things which we'll see and we'll discuss. The first thing is the container registry. As we have seen that Docker registry, it is a repository where we can store these Docker images. Maybe it's a private or public, or you have your own on-premise registry. Similarly, we can have Azure Container Registry, and using RBAC, we can give only read permission or whatever the permissions which we need. We can go to the granularity of that. And the Azure Container Registry is managed, a private Docker registry, and it has got a lot of facilities, and you can see that in the step 2. So discover this registry. The use cases, we already know that when we want to do the scalable orchestration, and yeah, we saw this one also, like as we didn't work, but we see this, we can do it with the app service. We didn't try batch or service fabric or AKS, but at least we know that use this container in app service, and we can use the scaling facilities of the app service to scale, which we can't do it in Azure Container Instance. And container registry service tiers is like basic, standard, and premium. You can see the storage capacity, whatever it gives us, will be limited if it is basic. So the container space, whatever it gives us, that, oh, I'm sorry, whatever it gives is little limited. It says that included in SKU 10 GB. Okay, use this one. So that's one thing. Why is not going? Okay. Now, if you see that standard registries, all the capabilities with included little bit higher storage and image throughput. Okay, standard registries and premium. So adds more features to this one. Geo replication, like it will replicate these images to another region so that to have the disaster recovery and those kind of things. Okay, content trust imaging. So suppose supported image formats is like Docker image, that Open Container Initiative OCI image format, and automated image builds that we have seen that Azure Container Registry. One of the things is uh, we can do automated image builds also through the pipelines. So all these commands are there. So explore the storage capability. So one thing is what encryption as at rest. So what does that mean is we can come back to here. See that here. Azure Container Registry Service Encryption protects your data at rest. That means even if someone steals your image, that will be encrypted. So you'll not be able to get out of that, anything out of that. Okay. And and then regional storage, like you have that redundancy and scalable storage, and build image. So you have a lot of different tasks, like quick tasks, build and publish a single container image to registry, and automatically trigger task. Okay, trigger on source code update, trigger on base image update, trigger on schedule, multi-step tasks. So this we can do this using the YAML file. So we did a little bit deep dive into the Docker file when we were discussing about this Docker, and we have seen how that is building in Visual Studio, and we saw that how these layers will be reused. That also we have seen that. And this is the exercise. So whatever we did it through the PowerShell, we can do it through the command line also. Now let's see that little bit of that in the command line. So let me close all these things. Let me come back over here. So first I want to ensure that my subscription is selected. Yes, it is Microsoft Azure sponsorship subscription. That's cool. So second thing is I'm telling that create a Azure container registry. So how many types of registry we have? How many registries? We have only one registry. That is 001. Now I'm creating 002. Okay, CR demo 002 within the same Azure subscription. This is a webhook, folks, whatever we created. So anytime we do any check-in, this will be logging that information. Okay, see that? Once we executed this command, it started create. You can come and check this. There is a new registry which was created. That's cool. And we can have one hello world of the Docker. We can use that Docker file, or your Docker file. Yeah, Docker file. So let's play with our Docker file. We'll paste it, and we call it as, instead of hello world, image. What should be the image name? Just give me a moment. Okay, let's keep the same image name. Why do you need to do something else? Right? So now whatever packaging the source code into tar to upload, you can see that because it identified that there is a source code and it zips that source code and it uploads to the Azure Container Registry. See, so it is executing that Docker file as I was telling. The step one by one step, it executes it, and we can keep a watch over here. Right. So oh, that's because of the context. I should be outside. Because the Docker context is a problem. Docker file. The context will be the problem because this is how the Visual Studio 2022 has created it, because it knows for its tooling, it knows that where the file is there, what is the folder structure. But when we are executing it manually, it will trouble us. So if this doesn't work, then I will fall back on the scripts which was given by Microsoft. But we know that this everything can be built in. See, it is finding problem. Is that the context? Which step it failed? Okay. Started pulling that. Okay. It's trying to build. Let's see that. Again, it failed. One second. Let's see that how this guy is building. So when we go and we'll say build the solution. So the command this guy is execute is very important. He's forcefully removing that existing image. And then they execute one command. That is very important where they are executing that command. Let me clean this up, clean the solution, and then build the solution. And when I execute it, yeah, the first command, whatever they're executing it here, It's very important. Okay, that's not responding. Let's wait for 1 minute, folks. Yeah, this one. Let's come back to this. It's not this. Let's go back to build. And at the top, see that it's telling Docker build. Okay, we are here and they're executing the Docker build from here. So let's see that. What is the difference? They're executing Docker build. They're giving the full path. I told you, isn't it? That full path. Okay, the Docker file is here and here and force, and the context will be the source in this. That's the context. So uh, we can give that another shot one more time, or if not, we'll fall back on the comments which Microsoft has given. Let's see that where are we? So we are in this source. So but this guy executed, he gave the entire command, but what are we giving? Okay, we are giving this right now. We are in the source. All the other folders are there. Okay, we are in the source. And why it is not finding that? We are saying that build this image, registry so and so, and file should be the Docker file. Just give me 1 minute, please. Build an image, and that's the registry. The file is the Docker file. So the Docker file exists inside that. The Docker file exists, and the context should be either this or that. And that's the one it should be. Let's give this a shot because we have given the image name. What should be the image name? The registry we have given and the file, because we are in the parent folder, that file exists inside this child folder. Or else, oh, I think Docker is here. So I can try with the context dot. So all the way it is going, but it is unable to build because it's not able to find one of the file. Yeah. See this, it's something to do with the context. What it says that copy fail, file not found in the build context or excluded, Docker ignore. Yeah, right. In that case, this should be the Docker ignore here. Where's that Docker ignore? The the Docker ignore is outside. So the context should be outside. That should be the context because this one, we are in the parent folder and we have given the file Docker file within this folder, but the Docker ignore is, oh, I'm sorry. There's one Docker file outside this. There's one Docker file which is outside this. I'll put it in the documentation just to avoid the confusion. Okay. See that the issue was the context because it is looking for this Docker ignore, but the Docker file exists within this because Visual Studio created it. It knows that how to compile it properly. So the command, we understand this in which folder you are there. From that folder, you need to give the full path. You need to give the full path of the Docker image. So where the Docker image is there, give the full path. from the context, and the context will be where this you are executing. See this, it was successfully executed, and we were able to see that image is getting created here, the bookstore that is in this one. So let's do the V2 of this. Again, I'll go see this, understand this. It's not a big thing, but a small, the context is the one which it was missing. So I was telling, isn't it? LS. So understand the hierarchy. So right now we are here under source, we are in the bookstore. That is this one. Inside that there is another bookstore inside which there is a Docker file. If I collapse it, there is a Docker ignore file. Because this file was missing, it was shouting at us for multiple times. So what we can do is when you execute this, I will change the to version 2, right? So we said that Docker file, it is inside this folder, inside this new bookstore. So we said that inside this new bookstore, go and locate the Docker file. And the context is, we are saying that context is dot is current folder, because the Docker ignore exists inside the current folder. So that's it. I'll just press enter. So whatever the Visual Studio 2022 was creating, we are creating it using the commands. So there are a few other things which we can dig deeper in the next session when we are discussing the logging mechanisms. Okay, so we'll wait until this gets over so that we'll see that version 2 is getting created. That is on 30th March. So we'll discuss along with this secure key vault and managed identities comes into the picture. These are little lightweight. It's not that much heavyweight thing. So the context is the one which was missing. Because of that, it was troubling us. Now that we fix that context, because this is for someone who's working outside that Visual Studio, they don't need to worry about it because this will fix it. I mean, you give the proper context, rest it will take care. See that the version 2 is over. So I will capture this image also and put it in the documentation so that we know that what is the hierarchy, because I'll put and I'll highlight this, execute. I'll give this link from here to here and the context I'll put it here. Okay. Now we'll come and we'll do a refresh. See that? V2 tag. Now from here it is all the same, isn't it? Now you can come in here and create this registries. Azure Container Instance. It's not a big deal because it's same as what we did here. I can come in here and go to the deployment. I'm showing quick, but again, next session, we will do it thoroughly. I can flip it. I don't want to go to 1, I want to go to 2. Okay. We'll give it a permission. 1 second, just a moment. We'll complete this, then we can call it a week. And because we have to access it, I need to enable this admin keys. Just 1 minute, it will be done. Okay, that's done. It's done. Latest. Now click on save. Then we'll do one more change and execute one command, and everything should happen automatically. Now this bookstore, it's getting from here 2 minutes more. So I'll quickly come here, just add H1 tag. Let's not do anything more fancy. I will add H1 tag. This is one. And I come back to this one. Let's call it as a V3. Let's come back to app. And because now that it has got a webhook, it should take care. I think it's deploying now. Let's go here in the deployment center. Admin credentials. This and this and this. Tag, it is V3. Or I could have tagged it latest. Let me keep the latest. That is safe. I tag it as latest and execute one more command. Tag it at latest. So that way, anytime it builds, it will kick in that latest. I click on save. Did it fail? No, it never, it didn't fail. So let me come in here and check this one and check the logs. This will give me information. So see this, it is pulling the latest image now. And see it pulled. Okay, so Azure Container History, that is this, that is this, and this. Okay, let's check 1 minute. Let's check this Azure Container Registry. It's 1 more minute. We should be done. Let's go to the repositories. And inside this repositories, I click on this. I will refresh. The latest has appeared. Okay, so the latest has appeared. And let's go and check the bookstore. Why this guy will fail when we have everything. Container registry set admin credentials. This one, everything is there. I click on save and it should pull this. No, it didn't start. So let's quickly, we can check the logs. Okay, image, local copy present. Okay, the new bookstore. Okay. Oh, okay. The actually the name what we have given is wrong. I'm sorry, it's my mistake. Because see this is the name which we have given, is it? When we were pulling that. So that name should be there. So previously we have given that 001. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done this. So let's go back to setting to see. It's this one, container registry, and this one. Let's push it back to 001. Okay, let's push it back to 001 and we can create a new in 1 more minute. It will not take much time for us to do. Let me go this. and put it in the same repository, and we call it as app demo 002. Let me keep it very simple, and I'll say Docker container, and that is in East US. And that's the same plan. Let's use it. Let's come back to this one, single container. It's from container registry, and select the registry. It is 002, because rest of the things it internally makes note of that. So it's asking the tags. So now we can use either uh, tag 2, 1, 2, 3, or latest. We are marking it latest just to ensure that when we enable the CI/CD, that will be easy for us to pull the latest image instead of version 1 and version 2 updating. So put it in the latest. So it will track how many things are there. I think now this guy should fix it. Okay, we broke something there. No problem. That shouldn't be a big deal. That shouldn't be a big deal. I can come in here. I'll stop this service. Something has crashed. I mean, I made it crash. It didn't crash it on its own. It's my mistake. So this is almost done. Let's check this deployment. So single container, admin credentials, it fall back on that. No, we'll want to fall back on 001. This is what we want. Coming back to its original state. Now we'll go here. We have app demo 002. That's a new container one. And let me go here and check this. This is the first instance I have done something really wrong. Now it's not, yeah, it's taking the proper config. It will come back, no problem. It will definitely come back. Now we'll go to this. We should see the third H1 tag. There were two H1s. One is the app name and one is the connection string. This is the third one. Okay, let's see whether this is, see that through AZ container instance. This is for the one which is coming from the second registry, which we executed everything through the commands. Okay, so that's it, folks. So next month next we'll see something else. Hope you guys have enjoyed and learned something new. Any feedback, positive or negative, that will definitely help me in fine tuning, because I just wanted to show everything live. So that is the reason always I do live, even if it is failing or whatever, I'm stuck somewhere, it's good. I do live instead of I do 90% of the thing and come with the slides. I prefer doing it live. Any feedback, Prakash or Kuljit, Krishna, Giri? Looks like AK is on hold. He joined another call, I think so.
No, it's good actually, really.
Thanks, Prakash. Giri?
Yeah, it helps. It helps when it fails in the live, then we know how to fix them, and if next time we face similar issues, then it will be easy for us as well.
Yeah, that is the reason I always do live. Whether it is failing or not, I do live. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do we get the recorded video actually?
Yes, Giri. I posted it, isn't it? The link in the chat. Just go and check the chart where I posted that. Uh, yeah, this one. I'll post it now.
Okay, thank.
Copy the link. Oh, it was Prakash, you?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay. Okay.
Can
Prakash,
you
I posted.
paste
Yeah,
again?
yeah, I posted it right now at 10:46.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Cool
Yeah.
then. This there are 12, and this one also will be in the same series. Maybe it takes 2 to 3 days time, but it will be from the same playlist. You'll get it, Prakash.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so you can
Yeah.
see that it automatically fixed. Let me show that. Because we did some changes, it took time, but you see this new bookstore, it doesn't have the third HR, but this one has got the third H1 tag. Here it is only two H1 tags. So that shows that we had two Azure Container Registry, the one which we did it manually, this one we did it using commands. So this one we used it whatever we created through manual, and this one we used it whatever we created through commands, the command which we executed here, the latest one. Okay, chalo
Yeah.
then, thank you so much. Any other thing, Kuljit or Krishna, have anything? Cool, I think Krishna is dropping. Kuljit, you there?
Yes, I'm here. No further questions right now. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cool, Kuljit. So I think we are done. Rashmita?
Yes, Swami, thank you so much for today's session and thank you all for joining us today. Please do share your feedback about today's session. Also, I have shared the Learn module link in the chat. Please feel free to use that link. It will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Also, please visit our Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru meetup page for more upcoming sessions. Thank you all once again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.